In a recent interview, it was announced that Battlefield 6 will have console-only crossplay. So this means PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series S and X users can play in a lobby together without having any PC players in that lobby. And this was something that was not available when the game was first announced. When the game was first announced, of course, they said there will be crossplay. When asked about how crossplay will work, it says, of course, it will be PC and console players. But if that is turned off, you will be playing only with the platform that you're on. So if you're on PlayStation, you would have only PlayStation players in your lobby. And if you were on Xbox, you would have only Xbox players in your lobby. But the technical director and the senior console combat designer had a recent interview where they were talking about console crossplay and regular base crossplay. It says they prefer players to play with crossplay on, but players can opt out of playing with PC players completely. Console-only crossplay happens when you turn it off. When you flip that switch, then you get console-only crossplay, and that is it. We will not fill that with PC players. And of course, the follow-up question in this interview was, does that mean PlayStation 5 players and Xbox Series S and X players, if they have crossplay turned off, they can play together? And the answer was yes. So if you have that turned off, you will be in a lobby with just Xbox Series S and X and PS5 players. If you have crossplay on, of course, you will then have PC players as well available in your lobby. And when they first announced this, back when the big announcement of Battlefield 6 happened, and they said there would not be console-only crossplay, I thought that was kind of weird considering we didn't have old-gen consoles in the game. If we would have had old-gen consoles, they probably would have gone with that idea. But when they talked about having only new-gen consoles, I was thinking this is going to be kind of strange to turn off crossplay, because it might be hard to find a lobby at times, especially for certain players in certain parts of the world, where it's going to be really hard to find a lobby if they can't find a lot of console players to begin with on just their particular platform, but also if they're somewhere where there's a different time, or a stranger time where a lot of people are not online. So Australia, for example, I know there's been a lot of issues with some games where people in Australia said they cannot find matches in certain games because of the time difference, but also, just depending on if there's crossplay or things like that. So overall, I think this is a big win for the community. So if you're someone that does not want to have console, or your own console, and you don't want to have crossplay on at all, I'll get that out here in a second. But this is going to be a really good option where you can play just with PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series S and X players. And if you want to turn it on and actually play with PC players, you have that option as well. Another good thing to me is it's just an on or off button. You don't have to have, an option to turn it on with just this, group of players, an option to turn it on with this group of players, or an option to turn it off to kick out the PC players. It's just an on or off option. So I think that is a really good choice there. Some games have the option to, play with multiple different platforms, but you actually have to switch it on or change the setting itself. So I like the way they did this. Of course, they did talk a lot about how they have a lot of confidence in their anti-cheat system. And of course, they did say that they do not feel like there's going to be a lot of cheaters in game, but they can't promise there would not be any. And that is one of the biggest issues when it comes to playing crossplay. A lot of people feel like, of course, I'm going to get in with PC players. They're going to be cheating. We're going to have a problem. But if they really can keep the cheating down to a minimum, I'm sure a lot of people will probably just play with crossplay on and have all platforms playing together. I do know there's some of you out there that probably will not play with crossplay on whatsoever now that you know this is the option, because there's been a lot of people talking about this since the game was announced. There's a lot of people that talk about this in a lot of first-person shooters where they will not play it if you're having to pretty much be forced to play with PC players all the time. If you turn it off, you feel like you're having to wait for a game for a really long time or whatever. But this is some really good news. I think this is a big thing for Battlefield 6. This will be a great thing if something happens along the way and the cheating problem gets worse and they're having to work on it. Of course, you can just always turn that off, crossplay off, and have the option to still enjoy the game and be able to find a match easily, because you're going to be in a lobby with PS5 players, Xbox Series S and X players as well. So leave me a comment with your thoughts. Let me know what you think about this. Are you happy to hear this? Are you a fan of crossplay? Are you going to be leaving crossplay on, or will you be turning crossplay off to just kind of experiment, like I will probably some, to see how quick you find matches, how fast it fills them up, all that kind of stuff. But just overall, are you going to be someone now that you know this, or are you going to leave crossplay on, or will you turn crossplay off on day one? Anyway, leave me a comment with your thoughts, and I'll catch you all next time. Peace.